Explore the history, relationships, expertise, and data that go into ensuring Stine growers get maximum yield potential. This is the Stine Seedcast. Here's your host, David Thompson.
Hello, and welcome to the Stine Seedcast. I'm David Thompson, National Marketing and Sales Director for Stine Seed Company. Today, we welcome back to the Seedcast Brian Hartman, our National Corn Product Manager. Brian joins us remotely from St. Louis. Thanks for joining us, Brian.
Well, thanks for having me back.
So, with the 2024 growing season well underway, Stine is already looking ahead to next year. So today, Brian's going to share with us what's in store for our 2025 corn lineup, including what's new, what's hot, and the products that he's most excited about. So, let's get started. Well, Brian, for starters, I know you've been a guest on the Seedcast before, but as always like to do, just if you would give us a brief bit of background on yourself and the role you play here at Stine.
Well, my introduction to Stine came back in the 90s when I was living in Northwest Iowa, where I grew up. Had a dealer who's kind of a legend within Stine, is by the name of Doug Brower. So he was actually my sales rep at the time, and I was pretty fond of Doug back then. Still am today, but pretty fond of Doug and really enjoyed his enthusiasm about Stine Seed Company. And then from there, I moved to Des Moines and worked for another large ag retail. And my sales rep at that time was a guy by the name of Todd Schomburg, who is still with Stine Seed Company. So, and I was pretty fond of Todd, and there seemed to be a theme there. So then came a time where it was time to move on from Des Moines and move to St. Louis. And Todd encouraged me to talk to Stine, so I met with Myron, and we briefly discussed a couple different options, and here I am, 18 years later.
Yep, awesome. Well, we're glad to have you on board with us. So as I said at the outset, as we're talking here, the 2024 crop is up and going, but here we are, we're already talking about and getting excited about plans for the 2025 selling season. So as the corn product manager, I guess I'm curious from your perspective, what are some of the key highlights that you are looking forward to in this new lineup?
David, this is probably one of the most exciting introductory years that we've had. We're going to introduce 12 new hybrids this year alone. So that's pretty exciting. And just the strength of the lineup is better than what we've ever had in the past. So that's pretty exciting. And then, to join in there, we're into this high oil initiative, and we're going to have 5 new offerings this next year, targeting those livestock and ethanol producers. We've got several regions that are expressing interest in this, and a number of those regions have some of those hybrids planted this year, so we can gather the necessary nutritional information and oil content on those acres. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I don't think we've necessarily talked about on the Seedcast before, Brian. If you would just kind of recap a little bit about that high oil project, because that is kind of exciting.
Well, we're taking our high-yielding hybrids, and we're introducing some different pollinators to that at lower percentages. And essentially, what we're trying to do is not offset yield, but increase oil content. And the mix that we have, I think we've demonstrated pretty well that we're able to do that, achieve that goal of, maintaining the yield, so there's no yield hit with that, but increasing that oil content from 1% to 2%. Which is pretty significant when you start talking with livestock producers, whether they be, poultry, cattle, or livestock, silage, whatever it may be.
So, and that is exciting and a neat new direction for Stine. So you talked about high oil. Just in terms of the overall trait portfolio, what's that going to look like?
Well, we're going to continue to have a broad spectrum of trait offerings, from conventional glyphosate, the AgriSure trait platform, Duracade. But most exciting this year is we're going to introduce a number of hybrids with the Double Pro trait. So that's pretty exciting, and it's got a lot of traction and excitement amongst our sales reps.
And that's great because as an independent seed company, we like to talk about grower choice, and just adding that to the portfolio is a great, again, another option for our corn customers. So digging in a little bit, you said we have several brand new hybrids coming to the market. What are a couple of those that just you're super, super excited about?
David, this is a tricky question that I always dance around. So, tell me what the weather's going to do, and then I could probably pinpoint through my crystal ball. But we just have too many to choose from. I never suggest just one hybrid. Just due to all the factors that we can't control. But our objective is to have, a couple of great options suited for every operation out there.
Yeah, that's a great point. Whatever product you pick, it's got to be the right timing, the right application, the right year. And so the best insurance is plant several products for the broadest protection that you can have. Talking a little bit about, a couple of years ago, we launched the MX series line of corn. I guess updates on that and what do you see coming in that lineup?
Well, I think we're going to continue with the MX lineup, and I'm excited about that because that's, a lot of these MX hybrids have a lot of the, exciting characteristics, shorter in height, respond to population, are really suited for some of those higher management practices to achieve those higher yields. We've been developing these shorter stature hybrids for well over a decade, and, we feel pretty strongly that this is going to continue to be the future of corn. We've saw a number of benefits over the years, just the standability alone with that duratio that went through just proved that our hybrids, the standability is second to none. And, some of our competition wasn't so fortunate. So, and some additional benefits, just less residue, after harvest, less residue to have to till in. And, the use of current equipment for, over-the-top fungicide applications is another huge advantage that we're seeing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's going to continue to drive the adoption of, that shorter stature corn. Well, so Brian, the Stine name is synonymous with great genetics, and, we're very, very proud of our corn program. And I guess, from your perspective, I wanted to know if you'd share some insights you have into all the research and development work that's gone into creating this year's lineup.
Well, David, as you know, we take great pride in that, and we believe it's a numbers game, and we look at a lot of things, and our research and development program just keeps expanding every year. In just the nursery alone, in 2019 we had 400,000 hand pollinations that they completed. In 2024 we expect to be over 1 million. So we're over two and a half fold of what we were back just 4 years ago. And in the nurseries where we're doing inbred maintenance, trait testing, segregation, genotyping, I think we're actually going to do, a feature in the Stine Weekly about our corn nursery later this summer. And then Guyana continues to be a huge advantage for our research and development as we can get 4 generations compared to just 1 generation we get in the Midwest. And I believe we also did a segment or a podcast with Warren Stine on that very thing. I believe it was episode 56 of the Steinecast, if I recall. And then in our elite trials, this is kind of the bread and butter. This is kind of where we see, the fruits of our labor of our nursery per se. But, in 2019, we had approximately 350,000 plots. In 2024, we're going to have 1.1 million elite trial plots spread throughout the Midwest. So again, it comes back to being a numbers game. We've got these product development plots. These are driven by our agronomy team. Last year alone, we had 28 locations. This year, we're going to have close to 70 locations throughout the U.S. And these product development plots are key because this is where our sales reps, our customers, our dealers, this is where they go to get their hands-on experience with these hybrids that we're introducing. Another thing we did this year is we synced up our product development plots in our elite trials. So we have a direct correlation per se. Each trials are done separately. The elite trials are narrow rows, as we know, and they're really designed to stress those hybrids in those narrow rows, higher populations. And our product development plots are, they're 8 rows, 30-inch rows, harvesting the center 4 to eliminate any shading effects. So, and those plots are getting observed by our agronomy team, taking notes on each hybrid throughout the growing season.
So when it comes to testing and research, as we talked about, really nobody in the industry does it quite like Stine. I guess specific to the testing and the trial work that we do, what kind of work is done to come up with a lineup like this?
Well, this lineup is a direct reflection from our elite trials and our product development plots to ensure we're providing the best genetics available to our producers. The 12 new hybrids we're selling this year averaged 110.5% in our yield performance from our elite trials this last year. So that's pretty exciting. And this data, keep in mind, is comparing the top-selling industry hybrids along with our current experimental hybrids and our current lineup. So what we're bringing forward is pretty exciting and pretty powerful.
Yeah, 110% is pretty good average. So for you personally, Brian, I guess you've been working with this for a long time. And as you said at the outset, you're pretty excited about the lineup that we have coming. I guess my question to you is, when you think of it, what really excites you the most about this lineup that we're looking at for 2025?
Well, I like to always look to the future, and every year is exciting. The most exciting thing in our lineup this year is probably would be the introduction of the VT2 trait, as well as the high oil initiative that we're expanding into. It's exciting, and we're always looking to the future. With over 1.1 million plots this year, I get kind of excited to see what's going to come out on top for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. So for growers who might be listening to this episode and want to learn more about this new 2025 corn lineup from Stine, where can they go to learn more information?
We have got information everywhere. So a lot of places, from our catalog, you can go to our website, www.stineseed.com. You can download product data sheets on each individual hybrid available. And, our sales rep, our independent sales reps, our regional sales agronomist, our agronomy team, we're all going to be hosting a number of grower meetings this summer through the winter.
Well, awesome. Well, Brian, you've gotten me excited. So now I'm super stoked and I can't wait for the 2025 selling season to get going. As always, it's great to have you on the podcast. Appreciate you coming on and lending your expertise and spending some time with us today. Thank you.
Oh, you're certainly welcome. I look forward to future Seedcast and as well as this next growing season.
Awesome. Well, that's our time for today. I want to thank our guests and our listeners for joining us on another episode of the Stine Seedcast. We'll be back again soon with more expert interviews and insights about all things Stine. If you have a question for our Stine experts, send it to asktheseedcast@stineseed.com. That's asktheseedcast@stineseed.com. And to never miss an episode, subscribe to the Stine Seedcast wherever podcasts are found.
Subscribe to the Stine Seedcast wherever podcasts are found. To learn more about Stine and its elite corn and soybean genetics, visit stineseed.com. Stine has yield.